In 1991, the town of Crestwood, Pennsylvania, was shaken by the sudden disappearance of a young girl. She had vanished in her sleep, her mother returning to find the bed empty and the window wide open. But 9 years later, she discovers an old recording toy from her daughter. And when she presses play, she hears something she was never meant to hear, revealing a truth so disturbing it would lead investigators to the most shocking discovery of their careers. The town of Crestwood, Pennsylvania, was quiet on the night of the 12th of June, 1991. A soft breeze rolled through the rows of colonial-style houses, carrying the scent of honeysuckle. Porch lights flickered on one by one as neighbors said their goodnights. Inside the small red-bricked home on Cypress Lane, the Monroe family prepared for bed, unaware that this would be the last normal night of their lives. 6-year-old Lily Monroe was already in her favorite pink pajamas, her blonde curls tucked into a bunny-shaped sleep cap. Her mother, Elaine, had just kissed her goodnight and tucked her into bed. "Sweet dreams, baby," she whispered, brushing a lock of hair from Lily's forehead. The little girl clutched her favorite toy, a small plastic teddy bear that doubled as a voice recorder. She called it Mr. Beery. "You'll listen to me in the morning, right?" Lily asked with a hopeful smile, her thumb slipping into her mouth. Elaine smiled. "Of course, I always do." The house settled into silence. Elaine and her husband, Mark, watched television for a while before heading to bed around 11 p.m. At 2:38 a.m., Elaine woke with a strange feeling and unease in her stomach she couldn't shake. She got up, checked the thermostat, peered out the window, and finally made her way into Lily's room. The bed was empty, no covers thrown aside, no sign of struggle, no open window. The little girl had vanished, as if into thin air. Screams shattered the stillness. Within minutes, neighbors gathered in pajamas, holding flashlights and calling Lily's name. Mark ran door to door, pounding and pleading for help. The police arrived shortly after 3 a.m., and within the hour, the home became a scene of controlled chaos. Detective Karen Rosenthal took the lead. A seasoned officer with a reputation for finding the truth even in the most elusive cases, she was calm but direct. "There are no signs of forced entry," she said, examining the room. "No broken locks, no disturbed furniture. Are you sure the doors were locked?" "They're always locked," Elaine said, her voice trembling. "She never sleepwalks. She was here. I tucked her in myself." Canines were brought in. The scent trail ended at the edge of the yard. No witnesses, no security footage, no ransom call. By morning, Lily Monroe's face was on every local news station. Her school photo missing a front tooth and grinning wide was pinned on telephone poles and storefront windows. Weeks passed. Leads trickled in, but none amounted to anything. A man with a blue van was questioned and released. A local drifter was arrested on unrelated charges. Despite relentless efforts, Lily's case went cold. The town moved on, as towns do. But the Monroes never did. Elaine quit her job as a kindergarten teacher. Mark sank into himself, unable to return to work. Their home remained unchanged. Lily's room untouched. Birthday decorations from her last party still tucked away in the attic. The police reopened the case twice in the next 5 years, but no new evidence surfaced. The media eventually moved on to newer stories, and the Monroes were left with nothing but memories and grief. By 2000, Elaine had learned to live with silence. She still talked to Lily's picture every night, still lit a candle on her birthday, She'd boxed away most of Lily's things except Mr. Beery. The toy sat on a shelf in the living room, its batteries long dead, its surface faded from the sun. One rainy evening in August, while sorting old boxes in the attic, Elaine came across a set of backup tapes for Mr. Beery. Curious and nostalgic, she brought them downstairs. Mark had left for the grocery store, and Elaine was alone. She popped one tape into the old handheld player and pressed play. At first, it was just Lily's voice giggling, telling stories, singing made-up songs. But at minute 7, something changed. A creaking sound. Lily's voice whisperings, "Who are you?" Then, a low voice, male, indistinct but chilling. Elaine dropped the recorder. Elaine's breath caught in her throat as the low, unfamiliar voice crackled through the old recorder. The toy let out a faint click, followed by a garbled sentence. "Don't tell anyone you saw me." The tape ended with the sound of Lily gasping, then silence. Elaine stood frozen. Her hands trembled as she rewound the tape and listened again. There was no mistaking it. Someone had been in Lily's room that night. Someone had spoken to her, and somehow, the old toy had caught it all. She called the police immediately. Within the hour, Detective Rosenthal, now a lieutenant, arrived with 2 younger officers and an audio technician. The toy and tapes were collected and taken to a lab. Elaine was questioned again, her statements recorded and compared to the original case files. "I always thought it was just Lily playing with it," Elaine said. "I never imagined." The toy became the center of a renewed investigation. Forensics teams enhanced the recording, isolating the voice and analyzing background sounds. They discovered the faint but distinct hum of a truck engine that idled for exactly 43 seconds before fading out. "That's not just any truck," Rosenthal said in a press conference. "It's likely a commercial diesel engine, a refrigerated vehicle possibly." The revelation hit local news like wildfire. The story of Lily Monroe vanished in 1991 and now possibly linked to a mysterious, voice rekindled national interest. Cable news channels picked it up. Talk shows interviewed Elaine. For the first time in nearly a decade, the family had hope. But with hope came old wounds. Mark Monroe had never recovered from Lily's disappearance. The renewed attention dredged up everything he had tried to bury: his guilt, his failures, his inability to protect his only child. "This changes nothing," he told Elaine one night. "She's still gone." Elaine, however, was driven by the possibility that Lily might still be alive. "We heard her voice. We heard his voice. That has to mean something." Their son, Josh Snow, 17, struggled to cope. He was only 3 when Lily vanished, but he'd lived in her shadow all his life. Now, with the cameras back and the whispers at school growing louder, he lashed out. "I don't want to be the brother of the missing girl anymore," he yelled one night. "Why does everything always come back to her?" Elaine wept that night, silently, holding Mr. Beery to her chest. An anonymous tip came in 2 weeks later. A man named Travis Ellery had worked for a meatpacking company in Crestwood during the summer of 1991. He drove a refrigerated truck. He had a criminal record, mostly petty thefts and drunk driving, but had never been tied to anything violent. He also abruptly left town in late June that year. Rosenthal and her team tracked him down in rural West Virginia, living under a different name. He was arrested on unrelated charges and brought in for questioning. During interrogation, Travis denied knowing Lily Monroe, denied ever setting foot on Cypress Lane, but when police played him the enhanced audio, his demeanor changed. He went pale. That ain't me," he muttered. "I don't know that girl." But the experts disagreed. A forensic audio analyst confirmed that the voice was a 94% match to Travis Ellery. With mounting pressure and new evidence, including fibers found in an old work uniform of his that matched Lily's bedding, Travis broke. "I didn't mean to hurt her," he confessed. I was drunk. I saw the window cracked. Thought I could scare her, maybe mess around." According to him, Lily panicked and screamed. He smothered her just to quiet her down, he claimed. When she stopped moving, he panicked and put her in the back of his truck. He drove to a remote quarry and buried her body under a pile of scrap metal. The town of Crestwood went silent once again, this time with grief. Elaine collapsed when she heard the news. Mark punched a hole through the drywall. Josh sat on the porch for hours, staring into the sunset. The next day, a search crew uncovered Lily's remains. The moment news of Travis Ellery's confession broke, national networks descended upon Crestwood. Satellite vans lined Cypress Lane. Reporters camped outside the Monroe house, hoping for a comment. Camera, flashes, lit up the night like lightning. Elaine declined interviews. She had waited 9 years for answers. Now that she had them, they hurt more than the questions. The story ran for weeks. Voice recorder solves cold case. Mother's old toy cracks mystery. And trucker confesses to 1,991 child abduction. But to Elaine, it was never about headlines. It was about Lily. Travis Ellery was charged with second-degree murder, kidnapping, and tampering with evidence. The trial took place the following spring. Elaine sat in the front row every day, clutching a locket with Lily's picture inside. Mark came once but couldn't bear it. Josh never stepped inside the courtroom. The defense tried to argue diminished capacity, that Travis had been intoxicated and did not intend to kill, but the jury was unmoved. They listened to the tape. They heard Lily's voice and the chilling whisper, "Don't tell anyone you saw me." On the 12th day, the jury found him guilty on all counts. Travis was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. After the trial, a memorial service was held in Crestwood Park. A plaque bearing Lily's name was placed beside the rose garden she used to visit. Hundreds came, neighbors, classmates, police officers, and even strangers who'd followed the case for years. Elaine spoke briefly, her voice clear and steady. She was 6 years old. She loved peanut butter sandwiches and reading to her stuffed animals. She trusted the world to protect her, and when it didn't, a tiny plastic toy did. Afterward, she walked home alone, leaving behind the cameras and condolences. That night, for the first time in nearly a decade, she slept with her bedroom door open. Years passed. The Monroes moved to a quieter part of Pennsylvania. Mark started volunteering at a grief counseling center. Josh eventually reconciled with his parents and started college. Elaine joined a victim advocacy group, using her experience to help other families with missing children. She kept Mr. Beery, not as a reminder of what she'd lost, but of what had been found, the truth. Every year on Lily's birthday, she'd visit the rose garden. She never brought flowers, just the recorder. She'd press play, listen to Lily's songs and laughter, and whisper back, "I never stopped listening."